Something doesn't feel right.
Yeah. You should be like through the floorboards, and I should be like driving a car.
Yeah. Feels like something is missing here.
Wait, is this where the Lincoln was? For 30 years?
I don't know what this piece is, but that looks important.
We are in the exact spot of the 1969 Lincoln Continental, formerly known as the Rotinental. Where it is now, definitely not rotting. I'll tell you that much.
Should be somewhere down the street, I believe.
Yeah, so down there getting fixed and not being returned.
We sold the Lincoln, and surprisingly, somebody wanted to buy it.
Here's the thing. The car is super valuable as a restored car. The way that it was with us, it was junk. It was not restored. Things were falling apart to the point where the car was bending in half almost.
Literally.
And it was so bad that like I knew I wasn't going to touch it for probably at least another 3-5 years, just because the next thing that needed to be done to that car was super expensive and really time consuming. And that was just something that Burnout didn't have in the cards, we didn't have in the cards, or expertise between the two of us. And ultimately, yes, it was a sad decision to see it go, but that was what needed to happen for that car to continue to be a car and not just rot away into the ground.
Yeah, it is. It's really sad because the Lincoln was the first car that we worked on together and the first car that we had on Burnout, because we had previously done... you know what? Yeah, I think we did start working on the MG first. You're right.
But the Lincoln was first on Burnout because of the episode releasing.
Yeah. And the stuff that we did on the MG before we worked on the Lincoln was so minor.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, cutting some parts for the fiberglass or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really sad to every time I pull in the driveway here to not see a giant hunk of metal just sitting right here.
It's pretty crazy because technically this is not our property, and the plow trucks in the winter would avoid this car. Like somehow it didn't get too damaged. There was a dent in the back quarter panel, and that was from an oil truck, but that was when I was younger. And ultimately the car really just sat in this exact spot. Obviously we're here now and we actually put some boat seats to sit down in, but we didn't stage this spot. It's literally how it is when the car moved. And we noticed that when we sat down, yes, there's still metal pieces from the bottom of the car that was rusting into the ground.
But there's actually a couple trim pieces right in front of us too.
Like I said, we didn't even stage that. This actually goes on the door. It's essentially
that
chrome
is on the
trim.
door, right?
Yeah. And then this is on the interior.
I was gonna say, that's the inside from the door panel.
But like I said, I just pulled this up from the ground. That's been there. Like these are Lincoln parts.
Those are genuine Lincoln parts.
Yeah. I bet you if we move some of these leaves, we could find some more. But Tarpy was just saying like there's little plugs here and stuff. There's even another one right here. Like this is like no joke. This is Lincoln stuff. That's a rubber interior.
Dude, look at. Is this actual metal or these rocks?
I think that's rubber. Because this is rubber.
Oh, it's hardened rubber?
Yeah.
Dude, these are like legit rocks at this point.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that's like we'll get a shot of this area after, but like that is proof that like that car was genuinely returning back to the earth, because once the air went flat in the tires, it was so low to the ground that like there was not much you could do. It just started rotting down. That's why if you looked at the car, and we have plenty of shots on this on the episode too, if you looked at the car, it looked really good, except for like the bottom fifth of the car was just bad in all areas. On the exhaust, underneath the engine, underneath the unibody, the quarter panel, the bottom fifth was really bad, and then everything above that was like, oh, that could drive,
Yeah. So it makes us really sad that the Lincoln's not here anymore, but at the end of the day, it made us even sadder to see it sitting here rotting, not getting worked on. And Jay and his dad ended up selling it to a guy who owns a big welding shop, I believe. And so he has the expertise to actually fix the car up properly and make it good. And I believe the plan was that he's going to work on it with his son. Yeah. And so that makes me happy.
Number one funny moment that stands out for me is when you fell through the floorboards.
That's what I was going to say too. We're sitting in a car, but it's not supposed to be.
That was a seat mount.
No, that's the floor collapsing. So I just got out of the car after sitting in it, and that's what happened to the floor. Broke right through it. Good start. Go team, go. Burnout. That was just so funny because I think I came up with the idea to go sit in the car, and I forced us to go sit in it without cleaning it at all. And so it was filthy in there. We put some trash bags down on the seats that we weren't touching the seats directly. We did actually vacuum up some of the cobwebs that were hanging all across. Like, we would have been sitting in spider webs, basically. But yeah, when I fell through the floor, that was truly one of the funniest things that happened on this car.
And we both had no idea. In the immediate moment, we had no idea what happened. And you were like, I think I just fell through the floor. And you're sitting on the ground.
You know, I think we also put a ratchet strap around the seats to pull them in closer together so that they wouldn't fall out the sides.
Yeah. I was so thrilled when we were both in that car with the cameras rolling, driving it up the driveway. Like, to me, that was one of the most surreal moments of, like, anybody can work on cars, and if we can get that hunk of junk moving under its own power, that to me was like an inspiring moment as far as like, yeah, I've seen the car sit here my entire life. I don't think I've seen it drive more than once. That was like a turning point for me personally as far as like, that is so cool. Really cool car, and we got it done.
Do you remember when we drove it, the transmission wouldn't shift out of first gear?
Yeah.
So we couldn't go more than 10 miles per hour?
Yeah.
And that resulted in me having to get out of the car and push it back up the hill right out front of Jay's house.
That was hilarious. There was like snow on the side of the road too.
Yeah,
that was bad.
It was cold that day.
I think it was low on trans fluid, but it could have been anything.
I think it probably was.
I think
low
it
on
had no
trans
fluid in that transmission because we didn't touch that transmission.
No, we had no idea what we were doing.
We did everything to the brake lines, but we didn't touch the transmission.
Completely revamped the brake lines.
Actually, another vivid memory that I have, and I don't know if you remember this, but it was in the garage on the other side of the garage, not my side.
Yeah.
And we were putting brake lines in, and we bought a brake line from the store that we needed to put the full line in.
I think I know what
But it was a metric line. We had no idea that it was metric. I, to be honest, didn't even know that there was metric versus American.
I was going to say, we went into AutoZone and we were like, hey, we need brake lines. And the guy at the counter was just like, just go back there and grab what you need. We went back. We grabbed pretty much every brake line that they had that had just about the right size fitting. And we came back, we hooked them up.
That was the only one with the wrong thread, too.
Yeah.
Like, it leaked at both sides of that one line, and we were like, that's the issue. We just have to replace that.
Yeah.
So
somehow
thankfully that was easy, but
yeah,
still.
I think we might have bought two, but we only ended up putting the one in the car. And honestly, we got super lucky that that was the case.
Yeah.
Think about how dumb it was when we pulled it out and then we just started pushing it down the driveway.
I remember telling you, like, if it's going to go into the tractor, like, let it. Like, I don't want you to get trampled by a 6,000-pound car.
Yeah. No, but then I just ran around and I was like, no way I'm letting this go into the tractor. That was actually terrifying. When because we both were on one side, because the car was so heavy, we had to push it together to get it just to the hill. And then it started rolling.
Yeah.
And I got so scared for a second.
If we got the car back, would you want to do anything to it? Let's say it's back and restored.
Back and restored? What would I have to do to it?
I would want to put air ride suspension on it. I think that would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
Assuming he restores it to stock condition.
I think at that point, I would probably want to do an engine swap.
Okay.
And probably just put another 460 back in it, but I don't want that one anymore.
Why not?
You know what? Maybe I'll just rebuild that 460.
That engine ran really well.
I don't remember.
It ran really well. We blew out the starter. That's why we couldn't really do much at the end.
True. Blew it out twice. Well, I guess it was bad at the beginning, and then we replaced it, and then we blew it out. If it's already fully restored and able to be driven, then the only thing I'm going to do to it is put a supercharger or a turbo on it.
No, we can't do that. I'd love to take that car cross country. I'd
That
totally
would be fun.
do that.
There's plenty of space for it.
That's what I mean. You could throw luggage and recording equipment in the trunk and still have backseat space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That trunk is huge.
I think these are the last two pieces I own of the Lincoln, besides maybe that negative ground bolt. That's somewhere in my garage.
I mean, that's just some of our favorite memories of the Lincoln and kind of the whole story of what happened, where it went, why it's not here.
You know what would be awesome is if we can get that tractor here.
Yeah. That tractor makes a good replacement for the Lincoln.
That tractor I will let rot into the ground in this spot.
That's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
If you haven't liked the video by now, just click the like button.
Yeah, what are you doing?
It takes like 2 seconds.
If you haven't clicked the like button, what are you doing at this point?
It helps our channel to afford straws that don't break, so we don't have to flip them upside down.
Somebody poked a bunch of holes in our straws. We gotta go buy new ones. So help us out. Share this video with a friend.
I wasn't even thirsty. We're reminiscing about the Rotinental. That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
These seats are really not that uncomfortable.
No, I was surprised, to be honest.